Here with the directors of Revenge of the Green Dragons, Andrew Lau and Andrew Liu. Thank you for joining me, guys.
I'm Lao. Okay, I'm Lao. Okay,
I'm
he's
Lou.
he's Lu. Okay.
Lou.
Awesome. So, my first question, I noticed that the film was inspired by true events, and I was wondering what those true events were and how much of them stayed in the final product.
So the genesis of this project is we were sent an article called "Revenge of the Green Dragons," and it was one of these sort of annals of crime exposés that you see in Vanity Fair and the New Yorker, and it was probably 25 pages of very sort of densely written investigative journalism about the rise and fall of the Green Dragon. So, most of the characters in our film, a lot of the events actually were directly taken from the original article. You know, if you I don't know if you're familiar with the actual New Yorker article that the movie's based on, but it could have been 10 different films. It could have been a mini-series. There was just so much information. There were so many events. It was so violent that was probably the biggest task that we had. You know, just why it took us 2 years to get to a script that we started sending out. It was because it was making those choices and trying to whittle it down to a 90-minute version.
Cool. So, how did Martin Scorsese get involved in this? And was he like a hands-on type of executive producer, or was he more of a mentor from afar type thing?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is obviously there was a sort of deep connection between Andrew Lau, Infernal Affairs, and Martin Scorsese departed. So I think there was a real interest from the guys to somehow collaborate and to sort of do that creative thing together. And this was a project that came up, and we knew it was about gangs. We knew we were going to be shooting in New York City. And it just seemed like a real natural thing to see if there might be an opportunity to put the two guys together.
Great. So besides Martin Scorsese, you guys had genre veterans like Ray Liotta and Jeff Pearson in the film. What was it like working with them?
I mean, it's very normal. Yeah, because everywhere the same. Though working with actors, I mean, it's easy. I mean, they are so helpful that they come to help. They have such. I mean, everywhere the same. It's easy. That just give them script and then rehearsal and then just say roll and cut. That's simple. Yeah.
Right. So on the flip side, you had a vibrant cast of young actors as well that are a little bit more on the comedic side of things, like Harry Shum Jr., Kevin Wu, and Justin Chon. I was wondering if they adapted to the more serious tone of the film fairly easily, or if they required a little bit more direction.
Well, this actually raises a really good point as it relates to Green Dragons. During the casting process, A.V. Kaufman was our casting director, and she's kind of a rock star in the world of casting. She's done all of Ang Lee's films, and she's done Jim Cameron's pictures. She brought us a lot of potential American-based actors to look at, and we quickly realized that there just wasn't, collectively speaking, a body of dramatic work that a lot of the American actors had to show us. I mean, it was almost, it started to become a running joke because on the guys' side, if they had reels or credits, they were usually, like the Arnold from Happy Days, sort of comedic relief thread. Or if you were the female side, you were the sort of exotic girlfriend. That was just what everyone had. So, in fairness to the guys, Harry, Kevin, Justin, those guys have worked and they've done a lot of programming. But you're right, it was mostly sort of in the comedic realm. So it just required a little bit more, I think, just attention and time on our part to bring them in multiple times. We'd spent a couple of days with Kevin and Justin just hanging out, going to dinner and riding the subway, and it just was a little bit of a different casting process because there wasn't a body of work to help us make those choices. We almost had to really go out and meet them and spend time with them to get a sense of what was possible.
Right.
I mean, this time the actors is helpful. I mean, they they're so aggressive. I didn't see actors not that aggressive to want to do that characters. I mean, I still remember Calvin. He come to we meet in L.A. and he sent us a lot of tape that the rehearsal, that kind of things.
Mhm.
And suddenly, when we came to New York, suddenly, well, okay, maybe later we have dinner together. And then suddenly he changed his whole style. He make the head curly, like the old days Green Dragon. I mean, they are so involved that kind of things. And even Justin is always asked questions, can I add like this or add like this? And even Harry,
Mhm.
and they are so involved the projects. So that is good. I mean, the actors care about that project.
Right.
So that's why we're very easy that to talk about the whole characters and work together.
Cool. Well, seeing as you guys had so many funny guys around, what was life on set like in between takes?
No, when we shoot, we are very serious.
Very serious.
Yeah, because we have limit of time.
Right.
I don't give too much energy for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they have to do a lot of preparation. Yeah, before in the set.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, of course, we have so good time to go to
Right.
bar to have drink, blah blah blah, that kind of things. But but in the set is quite tense. I mean, I like to shoot the whole scene one time. Blah blah blah, the camera everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and then not like the old style that camera here and cut. No, I mean, cut camera where you sit there, pen there, and then go walk through all the set.
Mm-hmm.
This is quite hard for the actors and actresses, but is I think it's good. I mean, the style is I want like that kind of things.
Did you find any differences in working in a more Hollywood mainstream movie than you would in like an Asian film?
I mean, of course, very different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hong Kong, you can do whatever you want. I mean, of course, the main difference is instead have the union. Every department have the union.
Right.
That lighting, the blah blah blah. Okay, and even I'm the DOP, but suppose you cannot hold the camera.
Mm.
But luckily, this time we negotiate with the who. I mean,
Union. Yeah,
Union.
local 600. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, for the big budget movie, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have time that wait for. I mean, when we change the set, we wait for the pops master. But this movie is not the big budget movies, so the crew is small. But everything you should maybe you do yourself. Maybe you move a table, we just move, but the union cannot
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. Okay, so this is the difference. Yeah, when I move the light, sometimes you cannot move the light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes assistant can move the cup. Oh, you cannot hold. You can call the pub master. I mean, this is the difference. I mean, for big movies, it's okay, but I hope will be something change. I mean, the union have this is low budget. Okay, let the people mix up to do everything.
Right.
Yeah, that is what I want for the for the next. Yeah.
Cool. So you kind of alluded to this earlier when we were talking about the actors. Uh, I hear a lot of Asian and Asian American actors saying that it's hard to find really juicy roles in Hollywood outside of a doctor or a scientist. Do you guys find the same difficulty behind the camera as well when you're trying to get your stories told?
Well, that's a good question. I don't. Wow. It's interesting because as a director, there's almost a transparency, almost an invisible quality to whose vision you're watching. You almost don't know unless you're a fan or, a real follower of films, like where that movie came from. And it's becoming I think, more and more transparent. I mean, people are, they're sort of doing all these things now to feature the creative team in their names. They're putting boxes around people's names on the credits. But, 15, 20 years ago, you saw these directors' names and you didn't know if they were Hispanic or Chinese or Jewish or what. You just didn't know. So the flip side of that as an actor, you're on show. You are who you are based on your skin and all. So it's much more, you're much more tied into your ethnicity. So for us, it's really a lot of times it's in the written word, it's in the script, it's how we pitch. I don't feel like we're necessarily as tied to our ethnicity as we are to our ability to tell a story or to pitch a story or to close a meeting, or we have to deliver along the standard lines of all directors and creatives who are pitching our projects, but that somehow is a little more separate from our ethnicity than I think what the actors go through. If that makes sense.
So finally, what are you hoping that your audience takes away from Revenge of the Green Dragons?
I'll start. Look, we took a trip once we had a day off and we went out to see Ellis Island. And you get there and there's this big statue, and they have that little plaque there and it says, send us, you're tired, you're poor, you're huddled masses. And someone had written there with like a black marker, someone had written right where it says, send us, you're poor, you're tired, and someone had written, so we can put them to work for minimum wage or less. Right, and it just really dawned on me that in so many ways, I mean, that's one of America's dirty little secrets, is that, it really depends on it's almost a limitless supply of cheap labor, more so than petroleum or any other things that people generally talk about in the news, right? I mean, it's America, it's such a part of the way this country works that it's ingrained even in the politics and things like the immigration policy of this country, right? And every ethnic group that lives here and has carved out their own piece of American history, they've gone through it. There's 12 years a slave. There's the Italians. There's today the Hispanics. You can't go into any restaurant in L.A., and not see everyone in the kitchen, being from south of the border. And so it's an interesting dynamic, and it's something that I think as a topic, it's a big part of what was attractive about this story for us in getting involved. It's an American story, but it's specifically an American story about Asians who came here in hopes of a better life. So that was kind of, I think, a real connective, thread for us as to why we kind of jumped on board.
I mean, it's very simple. Why the legal immigration come to America? Why? Of course, they have the vision. They have like a American dream. Of course, it's very simple. That before the Chinese people is poor, so they want to come to America to get some money, for the next generations. Let the people taste about that kind of things. So when you come to America, you have better life, or you lose so many things. Let the audience guess.
Cool. So for those for people out in the audience who didn't get a chance to catch the movie at the festival, where can they see your film? Where and when can they see your film?
So are we still on DirecTV? Okay, so Green Dragons is still on DirecTV. If you're a subscriber, you can just push play. It's also going to be starting, I guess, this Friday, October 24th in LA at the Laemmle's North Hollywood. It's also going to be playing in New York City at the AMC Village 7. So get yourselves down to the theater, support the cause. Green Dragons.
Yes, great. Thank you guys so much for taking some time. Thank you so much. This was great.
Cool.
Thank you.